Welcome to Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, the podcast that gives you an unfiltered behind-the-scenes look at what it's really like being a woman in the middle who's over 50 and following her entrepreneurial dreams. Grab a superhero cape, girlfriend, because you deserve one. I'm your host, Master Certified Life Coach and Midlife Mentor, Suzy Rosenstein, and I am excited to inspire you with interviews that feature all of this midlife amazingness. Let's go. Hey there, welcome back to the show. We have another really exciting interview ahead of us about being an entrepreneur, motivator, and educator, and deriving the greatest joy from helping people develop their potential and succeed in life. Today, you're going to be meeting Sherry Fernandez, a woman in the middle entrepreneur who's an instructor and speaker to youth and adults on personal development topics such as goal setting, marriage, nutrition, fitness, and living an elite lifestyle. Welcome to the show, Sherry. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Suzy. I've been looking forward to talking to you today, so I'm really excited to be here.
Me too. And your background is so pretty. And in our little pre-conversation, I found out a little bit about where you live in Idaho. It sounds so great. I'm so glad you're here. Now, I know we're going to have a great conversation about your midlife entrepreneur story. We're going to be talking about your business and what's going really well, and also what midlife issues might be getting in your way to some extent, a little bit here and there, and maybe challenging for you in your life as well as being a business owner. So I like to start things off with you telling your story. So let us know a little bit about how old you are, how long you've been an entrepreneur, what your entrepreneurial journey was like, and of course, what it is you do in the world. Take it away.
Well, I'm pushing 68. I'll be 68 in a couple of months. And
Ooh, happy birthday, pre.
I don't know how, how I got here. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I'm almost 68. My husband started a business. I always say our husband and I, but I did nothing. That was back in, our 30s, but I was raising kids. It really wasn't me. He just did that. So my own personal entrepreneurial journey, which we love entrepreneurs. That's sort of our jam with people. It's just that world is just our world. But I started my own business, fitness business, and I was in my 50s, 52 or 3, I think. And so, yeah, it's a little harder to get people to take you serious, I think. I'm very fit, and I know what I'm talking about. I'm very experienced, and really, we should look to people who've been able to be fit for a long period of time to say that they get good results, right? But it is kind of a young person's world. You think about your average trainer or whatever, and they're getting like 20. So, but it worked out, and of course I drew a lot of middle-aged women and men into the program because of that. But yeah, I always felt like I was maybe people were rolling their eyes a little bit, like, oh, she's kind of old for that. So there was that. That was probably one of the biggest challenge. And then, so I had that business for about 10 years, and I sold it, and I started my coaching business, personal coaching. We had 2 divisions. We had the fitness, Fit Mania, and then we had Fit Life, where we taught classes on finances and marriage, and I did one-on-one coaching and that kind of thing. Then I sold the business and rebranded myself, and first is sherryfernandez.com, and then Life Mastery when I wrote the book. But when I wrote my book too, Suzy, same problem. As I write the book, this kind of this genre is mostly written by 45-year-old, well, mostly men, sometimes women. So now I'm in my 60s, and I'm writing a book that, it's not people my age doing this, but I still feel like I have more to offer because I've lived it. I can say, I don't have to go hire a researcher to find out all this stuff. I wrote what I knew to be true. I've been teaching for 40 years, what I've lived for 40 years with success. So I didn't, I've been there. And that is one of the things unique about my book is it's my story. And I didn't put anything in there that I didn't teach for a long time and know that it's true on my own, for my own self.
What's the book called? Tell me a little bit more about that.
It's Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Potential. And it is, when we got married, we'd been living this hippie thing. And like you said earlier, I already had a child. And I had an alcohol problem. Had a problem with drinking. And so I wanted to change everything. Then I gave up the alcohol, and that was just probably making time on that one. I don't know how much I'd been able to do it, but gone down that road much longer. And I wanted stability. And I got married, had not really wanted to be married ever when I was younger, but I wanted stability for my daughter. And I had this guy I liked, I loved. And so I wanted to have the best marriage possible. And I got pregnant again pretty quickly. So I wanted to be able to have a really great body and still have children. And I didn't want to struggle like we do. We struggled. So it was like a lot of people start off poor, but like we were like really like, it was really bad. We had no training and it was bad. It's really bad. And didn't want to live like that. I didn't need to be wealthy, like hobnob with the rich and the famous, but I wanted to never struggle and worry about money. So I
Mm.
went to town figuring out how to do that. And I listened to all the great people of that day. And we even scrounged up money once in a while to go hear them speak. But nobody ever said that motivated you. And they might say, yeah, you should set goals. And they might talk about business goals a little bit, but nobody really told me where to start. I'd say, just wish I'm motivated. Here I am. I'm ready to go. But where do you start at? So I figured that out myself with it took a long time. And that's the other thing I'm proud about Life Mastery is there's a place. Here's how you can start. And that's, I think, one of the advantages that my book has over a lot of them is this is how you start. I see a few more books now, but back in the day, there wasn't any to tell you where to start at.
Well, also one word that pops out in the descriptor is progression.
Mm,
And I'm
yeah.
sure that was carefully selected, but can you tell me why you chose that word for the subtitle?
Thank you for asking, because I think that's the most important thing. The very most important thing. We all know that when we're stuck or we can't move forward, um, we're never really stuck. We're either backsliding or going forward, right? But we feel stuck or we feel like we're backsliding. We're unhappy. It's depression. It's anxiety. It's misery. The opposite is true, and we don't talk about that very much. But the opposite is true. When we're progressing, we all have this huge divine, never going to be able to reach our full potential kind of potential. Like it's huge. Our potential is so huge. And when we'll never reach there, but the journey towards it is what makes us happy. It's those little steps that we take to move forward. That's where happiness comes from. And we just don't talk about that enough. So that personal progression towards an infinite potential is the key to happiness. It's not climbing the mountain, it's the journey up the mountain and then saying, okay, what am I going to do?
Hmm. So when you focus in on where to start, give me a little flavor of that.
Well, it really all starts with daily habits. Whatever it is you're trying to achieve, there's no big, especially in our day with so much media at our fingertips, it looks like people are having instant, great, successful lives in just an instant, which is not really going to ever work, really, in the big picture.
It
But it
isn't,
looks
Sherry,
like,
come on, really?
no, it's what you do every day. So it's daily habits, and tracking those daily habits, that's where it starts. You just have to, I always like to quote Peter Drucker. He said, what gets measured gets managed. If we have some accountability, these are the habits I need to develop for my mind, for my soul, for my body, for my money. And then we track and we get on those habits and you get that train rolling. And you know that I know that if I do certain things every day, long enough, I'm going to get to where I want to go, right?
Right.
Whatever area it's in. So that's really the key is finding a good system, which I offer, of course, in Life Mastery. And simple. I've seen some very complex planning systems, and it just makes me exhausted looking at them. We need things that are simple, easy to use, do them, use them, get back to work, and
What was
work our
one of the
lives.
that is so good. And what was one of the first habits that you nailed down yourself?
I started with three. Somebody that I believed and trusted and said, you should write a journal. And I said, that sounds like a good idea. I want to draw. And I was convinced, right? So journal writing, I wanted to do a daily devotional with prayer in it. I wanted to start there. I needed that. I wanted that. I wanted that help in that direction. Then I added fitness, working out I added that quite quickly. And then planning my day. Planning my day, that would have been a good place to start. I would suggest with people that they start with planning day, because if you have a planned day, you have a planned life. But I didn't know that then. So that took me a little while to add that to my list. Then I kept those five for a long time. I had six kids. So I was pretty busy. We started this other business and I was pretty involved in some other things, PTAs and church things and that kind of stuff. So those five habits I had for a long time. And then I started adding more. Now I have a whole ton.
Well, that's so great. And what would you say, like, how would you describe the main components of your business?
Well, I do. I think what you're asking is like exactly what kind of mentoring I do. I like one-on-one and I like in-person, but it's a slow road that way, right? I don't reach as people doing that. So,
Did
and I
you,
did a lot of,
you said in person?
yeah, I do. Oh, I have got one client on Zoom. I do one on Zoom once in a while, but there's enough people locally that I can do that. And then I feel like I can really reach into somebody's heart but I do them on Zoom too. Of course,
Mhm.
it's the world we live in. And then what I really love, I did a lot of public speaking to big groups before COVID. And that didn't really kind of rally back around. I haven't pushed that because what I found out that I'm really enjoying is workshops in medium entrepreneurs, medium to small businesses, because they don't have the opportunity for training that you get in a big corporation. My
Right.
son works for a pretty, not a huge company, but he gets some marvelous opportunities for personal development. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're not going to get that. So I mostly work with entrepreneurs. Almost all my clients are entrepreneurs, almost exclusively. Not that I limit it. That's just how it works out. And or small businesses that need training, and they can't afford to bring some big name. They can't bring Patrick Lencioni or somebody in to train for them. So I like that. They're grateful to have me.
Oh,
I like to have gratitude.
I like that too. And I know you have this book that we were talking about. So how does the book relate to the workshops?
The books is the same things I teach in a workshop. Um, Obviously, you structure them a little bit different depending on what the owner of the business is looking for, but it's the same principles over and over. The same principles in the book, same principles in your daily life, same principles in your work life. It's the same principles. One thing that I never do is I never go into any one-on-one coaching. I can coach business, I can coach fitness, I can coach finances. A lot of finances when I work with somebody, I'll turn them to Ken, my husband, because he's better. He does that better than I do, but I can do that. How to self-educate yourself. I can do all those areas. But I don't want to just coach either a workshop or a person just in one area,
Mm,
like fitness or goal setting for your business, sales, how to be a better salesman or whatever it is. I don't want to do that because it's not it's not real progress. Because if you're focusing on this one thing and you're just working at it, and then you leave something else over here undone, that's not progress, right? Everything has to kind of move forward together. And so clients don't want to work on all of the 8 areas that I talk about, like physical and spiritual and relationships and all those things, money, vocation. Then they're not for me.
mm.
I'm not for them.
So interesting. So, one of the things that I love talking about on this podcast, of course, is where the rubber hits the road for being a woman over 50, over 60, and being an entrepreneur. And one of the things you mentioned is, you have those 6 kids. Now you have a lot of grandchildren. And
Yes.
grandchildren, when 21, you said?
I have 21 grandchildren. Yeah.
21. Let's just pause on that for a minute. That's a lot of birthdays to celebrate. Thank goodness. Yeah, but how does that factor into you running the business? With your business goals, and you've got this really beautiful sized family.
Where it hit me hardest. Now I can structure my life around. I block my clients and my appointments, so I have lots of time available. At that period of time, most of them were kind of preschool to early school age, and that there's a good chunk of them in there anyway. I've got them all over the board, but and they were going off to do things. The moms would get together and take the kids to go hiking, take the kids to go to the sand dunes, take the kids to go swimming, and it was always a lot of last minute things. I couldn't go. And that hurt my heart, because I raised my kids. I stayed home and raised my kids, and I went, and I took mine and I went. I didn't want to be left out. And it felt like, this still makes me feel sad. I just felt like over and over again, they were doing things and I was committed. I had these people here that I was working with, I was very committed to, and the people I loved most were going off without me. So
Oh,
that was probably the biggest thing that I had, other than the worrying about being taken seriously because of my age. I'm hard to not take serious, though, is my personality. So I did have that going for me. But
yeah, you're very engaging. You smile a lot, but one thing that comes up for me is not so much age for me, but it's my size. So I'm only 4'10". I'm shrinking like many older women start to shrink. And so that's an issue with me because when people see me on Zoom, you can't tell how tall somebody is. And
no,
then I'm there in person. Even a couple of weeks ago, I was at a retreat and I had these new shoes and I was so excited. They were so cute, these orange sandals, but they were kind of flat. And normally in a group where there's 100 people, I would wear a wedge or something with a
okay,
little bit of height, but nothing major because I can't stand it. But anyway, I got several comments. Oh, I didn't know you were so small. So in that group, everybody took me seriously. But if there's a group that's mixed with more men, that's where I see it. So the combination of being older and being under 5 foot, uh, sometimes people make comments for
mm.
sure.
Even if they don't make, I can see that. I can see that. I do think that there's a sense, a tendency to maybe take people as serious if they're very short or if they're very old, or I don't really feel, I have to tell you the truth, Susie, I don't feel that people take me less serious. I've never really felt that. No, rarely, probably no more than a man might take it in certain, I really have not had that experience, but I'm not very tall either. I'm 5'4", so
Ooh, that's tall in my
but
family. Nobody's
I can rock a pair of 4-inch stilettos too. So that's my secret. But I do think that I can see what's
Yeah, you
what
know what? Only it doesn't really bother me except when we're standing. So you know how sometimes you're at a venue where everybody's sitting, and sometimes you're at a venue where there's a lot of standing.
yeah.
And when there's a lot of standing, that's when I feel it. It doesn't make me feel bad, but it's just like annoying. I can't hear talking to a tall person. I can't even hear what they're saying. It's so awkward. Like, can we sit down, please? I can't hear you.
Yeah, sitting levels the playing field a little
Oh my
bit.
gosh. One time I was talking to somebody who was 6'5". I'm like, okay. After about a minute, I said, I can't do this. I would
Yeah,
love to talk to you, but we need to sit.
yeah. Can we sit over here?
Please. Please.
But you've got a strategy. You've developed a strategy, which
Yes,
is let's
I
sit
have.
down. Which is just one of those things that we deal with, and everybody's that's what you have to do. Develop strategies for things where you fall short. And
Yeah. And you know what you said though about being an older woman, sometimes people also are affected. I've heard this on the podcast. With this whole decision of whether or not to have gray hair, to have natural hair. And that also comes up in the context of, professionalism or feeling like you're respected authority. And it's getting less and less, I think, with more and more women being in having such huge accomplishments and being so visible and not caring, not giving a crap about it anymore. I'm kind of sensing it's becoming less and less. But until you transition into that phase of not caring, it can be angsty. That's what I've
And
heard.
so interesting you bring that up because I went through that thing when I wrote. Let me show you the picture of the back of my book. And this old picture was only taken in 2020, so only
Oh, so
three
your
years old.
hair is long and
And I
brown.
kept my hair dark because I had the book coming out, and I was the age thing. I was going to buy this book with somebody with gray hair, and I regretted it, and I wanted to let my hair go. So I've got if you hopefully we've had some trouble getting it on, but if you buy my book now, this is not the picture that you see. This is
Ah,
what you see because I said I do not want to. I hate it when I buy a book or a lot of times I see podcasts or they'll have a cover picture and then they come on and they're like, 10 years older and 20 pounds heavier. And, they don't look like that. I hate that. I want to surprise people on the upside, right? Not on the downside. So anyway, I'm changing the picture over and I'm very excited about that. And I've actually really, really loved my hair. So a lot of my friends, I went to this group of friends that we've been friends for like decades. And the first time they saw me, they're like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm like, you guys go ahead. I don't care what you do, but I'm not going to be still dyeing my hair dark brown when I'm 90 years old. I'm not
oh
going
my
to do
God.
it.
I love that I happened to ask that question and it was angsty for you around the book cover. It's so interesting, our own transition of getting more comfortable with whatever it is we want to do to make a change like that. That's great.
Interestingly enough, I get so many compliments on it. My hair is actually, and this is so weird, but I swear it's made my face look younger because I don't have the harsh contrast. You have
Yeah.
a lighter color, but I was dark color. And I think the contrast was too much and it made me actually look older or something. I don't know. But I actually think my face looks lighter and brighter. And I get so many compliments. I'm wearing colors that I didn't.
Yes, I've heard that. The earrings and the lipstick and the
Mhm.
colors of everything. Yeah, no, you're beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. You look great.
Thank you.
It's so good. Yeah, we deal with a lot, and that's just another thing we deal with, aging. So, you also mentioned in your notes that your personal midlife journey and your business journey are deeply intertwined, and that you had some dysfunctionality when you grew up, and you had quite a journey. And then now, even the way you teach your business, it's a big intersection, as you said, that you're not just dealing with a little piece of somebody's life, but you're looking at it more holistically. Can you talk a little bit more about how your experience affected your approach to have things so intertwined?
Yeah, I don't know really what happened. It's hard to go back. Even at the time, I think I was young. I didn't realize, but my parents got their first divorce when I was 7.5, and I'm the oldest of 4 girls. And then you have the things that happen when you have a divorced woman with 4 little girls and stuff. But I don't know which came first, the divorce or me being a wanderer. But my mom was pretty. hands-on. I mean, she didn't really, we just didn't, I did whatever I wanted, come home by for dinner, right? So I wandered all over this little town that we lived in. And I would wander, I would think, and I somehow got this in my head. I also went to a lot of movies by myself. I don't know who lets their children go to movies by themselves when they're 8, but that's what happened. And so I got this idea somewhere in all of that, that I was somebody special, that I know. And somewhere I determined there was a God. I don't even know how I figured that out. Like, we didn't have any religious term, but I just knew there was, and that I was really special to him. I was like above average special. That's what I thought. And I thought I was destined to do great things. I think I thought great things were to, wear evening dresses, go to big parties. I don't know what, whatever it was I thought was special, I was going to do, or be Barbie. I don't know what I thought was going to be special, but I was going to do something special. But that feeling actually stayed with me for a long time. And as I became an adult, because obviously I can't be special among all God's children, even though this is all. But then then I kind of came full circle again and said, but we all unique, and I am special. I do have a special journey. And that feeling of I am designed for great things just never completely left me. And I think that's what served me, because when I decided to move forward, I mean, nobody gave us 2 cents for our future, but I just knew that I was superior to my circumstances, that I just had to figure out how to get there. And so I went on my journey to figure out how to get there. And that's how I got there. And so that thing alone, that feeling of being, I think you can choose it. I don't think you have to have it thrust upon you. I think a person can choose that and realize, because we all are. We all have this potential that is just divine and unique and marvelous and amazing. We just have to choose it and choose to believe that we're worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting, because if you put 10 people in your circumstance, they wouldn't all have chosen what you chose and how you moved forward, right?
I was lucky. Yeah. I was lucky to whatever forces that combined together. And my mother would, every once in a while as an adult, she'd come out, you're still probably mad at me for what happened when you were a child. I am not, because I say this all the time. If you like yourself, you have to like everything that happened to you. And whatever series of events happened culminated in me feeling like that I was unique and special. And I don't know why. And I hope that doesn't sound arrogant. I wish everybody would feel unique and special,
Yeah,
because
no, I know.
we really
And
are.
even to just imagining you as an 8-year-old doing anything by yourself, let alone a movie theater. And you must have developed great confidence by, having experienced something like that, and then you do it again and again. And that was a lot of independence that I'm sure your friends didn't have, that they didn't feel.
Yeah, they didn't. And I didn't really have very many friends. We moved so often. I went to like 12 grade schools or something. So I didn't really have a lot of friends, but I just had this, I, and I was, this stayed with me through my teen years. So I couldn't find a friend to go do something. I could do it by myself. And that's kind of how it was. There wasn't somebody to go. The one funny story is there was a city pool this is back in the days when you had high dives, and they were quite high. High
Yes.
dive at a city pool. And I couldn't swim. But I figured out how to get to the pool. I found out where it was. I figured out how to get in, and eventually got to the pool and started going all the time. My mother came to pick me up one day, and I was just to see me jump off the high dive. And I'm 8, going on 9 at this point, and I'm dog paddling to the side. She got that heart attack. But I don't know how. I don't know. If I wanted to do something, I just did it regardless of this. I just went and figured out how to do it. And I guess that's how I started my business too, and my coaching business. I started mentoring and coaching people before it was trendy for 25-year-olds to do it. Nobody was really doing it much, and I was speaking on personal development. I've been doing that for 30 years before it was everybody wanted a speaking career. So I found my own way. And when people ask me what is a life coach, I have no idea. I just know what I do. I don't know what those other people do. All I know is this is what I do.
Oh, Sherry, you were a trailblazer as a kid. Like, it really started young with you.
I'm probably just seriously ADD or something. They have a title for it. They have some kind of acronym for me at this point, I'm sure.
Oh, wow, wow. So, I know that you are pretty clear about what you want. Tell us what is coming up next for you in your business. Now you have your book, you've got a clear program. What's next?
I'd actually had planned to sort of regroup. There's going to push the book until this month, actually. And then I have an opportunity to be on a cable television show in New York a few weeks. And then that'll air sometime in the fall. And I don't know. You never know for sure what's going to happen. But I think that my book sales, which are fine, they're not grand. I mean, but you don't want to get rich trying to write a book. I wouldn't advise it. But I sell some every month. But they'll tell my book sales will explode. So, and my opportunities will explode. Then I'll have to decide just how much. What I try to do is I have a really nice, beautiful, lovely life. So I try to, but I need to make a difference too. So now let's walk that line between how involved do I want to get, have some great experiences, make a difference, but still not not stress out my life. I did that in my business and I'm not going back there. So that's
Right.
kind of what we're doing. But we just bought this new house. We've been living in a downtown condo for 5 years. We just bought a new house that I love, and I'm just trying to learn to enjoy my day to day. And my other adventure, though, Susie, I have to tell you this one is I have been so amazed. I'm in this journey of figuring out what we can do mentally with our brain, what we're capable of mentally, like curing, like curing chronic pain or whatever it is. Not like just sitting around and wishing for $1 million to fall in your lap, but like real, like if you could, I think it's the next brave new world is our brain, right? And the brains of all of us and what we could accomplish with those brains if we knew how to train them and how to develop that. So I'm kind of on a journey on that, seeing where that takes me.
I love that. And you know what you were talking about when you're talking about your house? Oh, I can see. It's beautiful. You're in your
It's,
house now, right?
yeah, it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
beautiful.
It's stunning. I'm only seeing a tiny bit of it in Zoom, but I think what it is also as we're older, and you're a few years older than I am, to reevaluate what success you want to create for yourself right now. And I find that everything we do in midlife, it changes because as we age, there are different things that come to the fore. The grandkids at different stages, your parents at different stages, your relationships, and even what you want to do in business. Some things you might find more enjoyable now than you did before, and vice versa. So you can constantly reevaluate what it is you want to do on purpose and how much of it you want to do on purpose. And you don't need to explain it to anybody, but your idea of success may change over time, especially even in like a 10-year period, it can really change.
It can change. And I tend to come up against what do you really want and what you think you want to. And of course, I work with this with clients. I do this with clients. So I have to do it myself. But after the book came out, I hired, while I was writing it, actually, I hired a coach. I didn't think maybe it was the perfect fit for me. It's something I'd known for a while. But anyway, I tried him anyway. And we were working on some things. And I have some connections in some big companies that I could have approached. And he kept saying, you need to get it. You need to get into the corporate world. You need to get in the corporate world. You need to get in the corporate world. You've got a lot to offer there. You could be teaching, doing mentoring. You could be doing workshop speaking in the corporate world. And it sounded right. And I said, that's where the money's at. Well, it sounded right, but finally, I just had to come to terms with it. I don't want to do that. It
Yeah.
isn't for me. I want to work with the people who I wished I could have found when I was young. I don't need their money. I don't need to make a boatload. I need to make a difference at this. I don't know if you're familiar with David Brooks's book, The Second Mountain, but that's what I feel like. This is at least my second, if not my third mountain. I'm going to do what I wanted, and I'm not going to do it because it's a great opportunity unless I feel like I'm going to have a great experience or because
Exactly.
it's a lot of money. I'm going to do what I'm going to do because it's what I feel like makes a difference for me and for other people. And that's why I'm choosing it. And because of that, I'm kind of in a place where I have to see what comes along and just know what I want and what fits and what doesn't fit and just see where it takes.
Yeah, there's a bit of trust with the process and trust with your path that
Mm-hmm.
goes along with that. And then you can rely on your own confidence and your own ability to connect with the way you're thinking and feeling and lean into it better than we used to be able to do, when we were younger and, just more affected by other people, what other people think is right, what other
They
people.
do think it's right. And also what you need to do, and you need to set more far range goals. I like it in the business world now. It used to be 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even, it'd be like, you have to have a 5-year plan. Now they're like, you have to have a 90-day plan. And that's kind of how I feel like my life is too. But also it's partly my age. I don't have to be thinking long term, raising kids. I've got this thing. I've got to get my retirement thing or, some of those long range plans. I don't need to do those anymore. I don't have enough long range. I don't have enough years left for that. Um, so I kind of like the 90-day, and which is also how I teach people to set goals for 90 days. But I kind of like thinking, looking ahead as a rule, 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. What do I want to do? If you know what it is I want to do, I want to make a certain kind of difference. And I want to have new experiences like going on this TV show. I don't know if it's going to be great or not. I mean, it's fine. Either way, I've never done that before. So I want to go have this experience. So I
Yeah.
know that I want those kind of things and I want to make a difference. If it fits, something comes along that fits, great. Doesn't fit, I don't feel compelled.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. Okay, so tell me, where is the best way for people to get a hold of you consistently?
If they want to get a hold of me personally, then they can contact me at Sherry, Sherry, at lifemasteryinfo.com and or on Facebook, of course. How's it there? Instagrams, I have an Instagram account, but I don't know how to get on. Somebody
That's
else is running it.
That's probably not the best
So
way to get hold of you.
I, I think I'm there. I didn't put myself there, so I can't do anything with it. But then also, of course, the book is available on Amazon and it's also available in Audible. I did the Audible myself again for the experience. And it was great. A lot of people who knew me love it, but they say they like my voice. So I don't know. I've got a strange voice. But anyway, it's on Audible and it does pretty well. And there's a workbook and I've got a planner out there too that are available at the
Oh, that's
website.
amazing. Well, I'll be
Mhm.
putting those notes together for sure. Sherry, this has been a delight. Really has. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and share all this. I loved hearing your story. I love hearing how committed you are to not just making an impact, but also living the life that you're very excited about living for yourself in your beautiful new home,
Oh,
in a
thank you.
beautiful place in the country. It's so great. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Susie. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some of my feelings and thoughts and maybe make a difference. I
Oh,
hope.
absolutely. Okay, that is it for now. If you're listening and loving what you hear, please like and subscribe. Reviews are great too and much appreciated. And if you're a woman in the middle who's 50 or over and an entrepreneur and would also like to come on the show, please go to www.midlifeinterviews.com and fill out an application. We'd love to have you on to share your story. Thanks so much for listening. It's never too late for you to put yourself on your agenda. I'm Suzy Rosenstein, and I'll talk to you again soon. Now, real quick before we say goodbye, if you are connecting with the show and are finally ready to make some changes to regret-proof your life, I want to invite you to apply for the Women in the Middle Academy. It's my transformational midlife group coaching program to help you get clear about what's getting in your way so you can get on with the good stuff. Head over to www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com. Talk soon.